Welcome to American Press Productions, independent political analysis. These are today's top stories. White House officials warned aides to the governor of Puerto Rico that they were pushing too hard to get a meeting with President Trump. In an interview, the governor spoke his feelings quite clearly by saying in regards to President Trump, quote, "If the bully gets close, I'll punch the bully in the mouth," end quote. Tough words from the governor of the island that was managed so ineptly they had to cut off power to hospitals because the government couldn't pay its electric bill. This is a place that receives federal aid despite its citizens not having to pay federal income taxes. The governor's anger at President Trump is likely just redirected from the mess he and his predecessors created for themselves on their island. The latest poll for Democratic presidential candidates is out, and Joe Biden is in the lead with 29% of Democratic-leaning voters saying they'll vote for him in the 2020 primary. Bernie Sanders is second at 19%, and Beto O'Rourke is third at 12%. O'Rourke and Biden have taken similar paths recently by denigrating and apologizing for being both white and a man. Speaking recently about violence against women, Biden blamed white man's culture as a whole, a stunningly ignorant accusation given that data shows violence against women is among the lowest in white countries. Joanne Walsh, a political analyst for CNN, said of Biden's comment, quote, "I have an idea for how he can change it. Don't run. Come out and support a woman. There's 6 women in the race. If you want to change it, that's the way to change it," end quote. Joanne Walsh is absolutely right here. Biden needs to square away the words he speaks with the way he lives his life. If he truly believes the anti-white, anti-male garbage he spouts, he needs to step aside and throw his support behind a candidate who is a woman, or even better, a woman of color, such as Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren. If he continues to run, he either reveals himself a hypocrite who doesn't believe the words he says, or it will become obvious that Biden believes women are not capable of taking the lead to enact the changes he is calling for. Either way, he is digging himself a hole with his identity politics rhetoric, and he likely realizes this, as he recently stated that for a vice presidential pick he would choose failed Georgia candidate for governor, black woman Stacy Abrams. Stacy Abrams was asked about Biden's possible decision to choose her. She responded by saying, quote, "I think you don't run for second place," end quote. A stunning insult to all vice presidents and vice presidential candidates who I'm sure don't see themselves as failures or runners-up. They would hold arguably the second most powerful political position in the entire world. With comments such as those, what a race it would be if Biden chose this black woman and she accepted. She has no standout qualifications. Her political experience and accomplishments are limited to being a member of Georgia's House of Representatives. Biden would only choose her because she is a black woman. All of this exposes the restraints identity politics places on those who offer up themselves as subservient to it. Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy calls for college athletes to be paid, calling it a civil rights issue. What prompted this was a recent injury to one of college basketball's top players, Zion Williamson. Murphy viewed the injury and the inevitable others like it to come as something that could prevent these kids from becoming future millionaires. Murphy thinks it's unfair that while these college athletes get paid nothing, the coaches, the broadcasters, advertisers, and sporting goods companies make millions themselves. Murphy wants these kids to get their cut. But, as with many proposals by Democrats, Murphy's is short-sighted, based on feelings without a thought to the long-term consequences of paying student athletes. The purpose of college is to attain an education, not groom athletes to become future millionaires. Most college athletes do not go on to become professional athletes, but many of them receive generous scholarships with high-quality on-campus housing and graduating nearly, if not completely, debt-free. While many American college students must work a part-time job just to get by and then graduate with crushing debt, college athletes get to do something they love, which affords them many perks unavailable to regular college students. If we begin to pay college athletes, that pay will become a factor in what college they attend. There will be no way to normalize pay across the board. Football programs like Alabama and Notre Dame, basketball programs like Duke and North Carolina make far more money than their competition. They also regularly do well in the postseason. These postseason games, national championships, make huge money, which will allow the team who win them to pay their athletes more. What 17, 18-year-old kid is going to pass up the kind of bonuses guaranteed at these programs to play for lesser schools? If someone goes to college for anything other than an education, they are doing it wrong. If these college athletes are forced to attend college to go pro, there's a problem in the system, and paying these kids is not the solution. The big money in college sports is a consequence of its entertainment factor. Millions watch, millions pay to go to the games, buy merchandise, and advertisers pay big money to get their name and product in front of these fans. In an interview, Senator Murphy said in regards to the injury to Zion Williamson, quote, "Everybody would have made millions of dollars off of Zion Williamson and he would have gotten nothing," end quote. He would have got a free education at one of this nation's top universities. Not exactly nothing. But what else did Murphy say? Perhaps an explicit reason for his views on paying athletes. Why exactly did he call it a civil rights issue? Quote, "It's also a civil rights issue because the majority of these athletes, at least playing big-time football and basketball, are African American," end quote. It seems the reality is Murphy just doesn't believe a college education is something that will benefit these African Americans, something that they are capable of using to find a successful career for themselves outside of sports.